When the street hawker saved the businessman's life, she had no idea he was her father. But what happened 3 days later would change everything. Amara was 16 years old, and every morning at 5 a.m., she was already on the streets of Lagos, balancing a tray of pure water sachets on her head. She had been selling water at the Lekki traffic lights for 2 years, ever since her mother died and left her with nothing but debt and distant relatives who didn't want another mouth to feed. "Pure water! Cold, pure water!" she called out, weaving between cars in the heavy traffic. The sun was brutal. The exhaust fumes made her dizzy, and most drivers ignored her. But Amara had learned to smile anyway. A smile sometimes meant the difference between selling out by noon or going home with unsold bags. On this particular Thursday morning, something unusual happened. A black Range Rover pulled up at the traffic light, and Amara approached with her tray. But before she could even offer her water, the driver's door flew open and a man stumbled out, clutching his chest. He was well-dressed, clearly wealthy, and he was having a heart attack. Other hawkers and drivers just stared. In Lagos, people had learned not to get involved. Too many scams, too many ways helping a stranger could turn into a problem. But Amara didn't think. She dropped her tray, water sachets scattering everywhere, and ran to the man. "Sir! Sir, can you hear me?" She had learned first aid from a free clinic program in her area. She checked his pulse, loosened his tie, and elevated his legs. Someone needed to call an ambulance, but her phone had no credit. "Please!" she shouted to the crowd. "Someone call an ambulance!" A woman finally called. While they waited, Amara stayed with the man, talking to him, keeping him conscious. "Stay with me, sir. Help is coming. What's your name?" The man's lips moved, but no sound came out. His eyes found hers, and for just a moment, something flickered in them. Recognition? Confusion? Then his eyes closed. The ambulance arrived and rushed him away. Amara watched them go, then looked down at her scattered merchandise. Most of her water bags were burst or trampled. She had lost a full day's income, maybe 2 days' worth. Her landlord was already threatening to throw her out. She sat on the curb and cried. 3 days later, Amara was at her usual spot when the same black Range Rover pulled up. Her heart jumped. The back window rolled down, and there he was, the man from the heart attack, looking much better, sitting in the back seat. Next to him was a teenage girl around Amara's age, dressed in expensive clothes. "You," the man said, his voice still weak. "You saved my life. Get in. I want to thank you properly." Amara hesitated. "Sir, I don't need anything. I'm just glad you're okay." "Please," he insisted, "just give me 10 minutes of your time." Against her better judgment, Amara climbed into the car. It smelled like leather and air conditioning. The teenage girl stared at her with barely concealed disgust, looking at Amara's worn clothes and dusty feet. The man introduced himself as Chief Okonkwo, a successful businessman. "You didn't just save my life," he said. "You stayed with me when everyone else walked away. In this city, that's rare. Tell me, what's your name? Where is your family?" "My name is Amara, sir. I have no family. My mother died 2 years ago." "Your father?" Amara's face hardened. "I never knew my father. My mother said he was a big man who abandoned us when she got pregnant. She never told me his name. She said he didn't deserve to be known." Something changed in Chief Okonkwo's expression. His face went pale. "Your mother's name, what was it?" Kioma Nwosu." The car went completely silent. The chief's hands started shaking. The girl next to him, his daughter Zainab, looked confused. "Daddy, what's wrong?" Chief Okonkwo's voice came out as barely a whisper. "Kioma. Oh God, Kioma." He turned to Amara with tears in his eyes. "Your mother, I knew her. We were together many years ago, but my family, they didn't approve. She was from a poor background and they pressured me to marry someone else, someone from a wealthy family. I was weak. I chose my family's approval over her. I didn't know—" His voice broke. "I didn't know she was pregnant." Amara felt like the world had stopped spinning. "You're my father?" Zainab gasped. "That's impossible. Daddy, tell her it's not true." But Chief Okonkwo couldn't stop staring at Amara. Now that he was looking, really looking, he could see Kioma in every feature. The same eyes, the same smile, the same fierce spirit that had made him fall in love all those years ago. "I tried to find her," he said quietly. "Years later, after I'd made my money, I went back to look for her. But she'd moved and no one knew where. I thought she'd married someone else, moved on with her life." "She never married," Amara said, her voice hard. "She worked as a cleaner in offices. She got sick from the chemicals and she couldn't afford good treatment. She died in a government hospital where the nurses barely looked at her. And I've been on the streets ever since because the family she did have wanted nothing to do with me." The guilt on Chief Okonkwo's face was devastating. Here was his daughter, his own blood, who had saved his life, who had been suffering for years while he lived in luxury, completely unaware. Zainab finally spoke, her voice cold. "This is a scam. She probably heard about Daddy's heart attack and made up this story to get money." "It's not a story," Chief Okonkwo said firmly. He pulled out his phone. "We'll do a DNA test. Today. Right now. But I know the truth already. I can see Kioma in her face." The DNA test confirmed what Chief Okonkwo already knew. Amara was his daughter. And with that confirmation came a choice. He could give her money, set her up somewhere comfortable, and keep his two worlds separate. Or he could truly make amends for his past. He chose amends. Chief Okonkwo brought Amara home to his mansion in Ikoyi. Zainab was furious. This street girl, this water seller, was now her sister? Moving into their house? It was humiliating. All her friends would talk, but something unexpected happened. That first week, late one night, Zainab came down to the kitchen and found Amara crying quietly over a textbook. "What's wrong with you?" Zainab asked, not unkindly. "I'm trying to study," Amara admitted. "Your father enrolled me in school, the same expensive school you attend, but I've missed 2 years of education. I'm so far behind. Everyone will laugh at me." Zainab stood there for a long moment. She thought about her own life, how easy everything had always been. She'd never had to fight for anything, never had to worry about where her next meal would come from. And here was this girl who'd saved their father's life, who'd survived things Zainab couldn't even imagine, now terrified of a classroom. "Okay," Zainab said, sitting down. "Okay, I'll help you. We'll study together. You're smart. You had to be to survive on those streets. You can catch up." And she did. Over the next 6 months, with Zainab's help, Amara not only caught up but excelled. She discovered a talent for mathematics and science. She made friends. She began to heal from years of trauma. Chief Okonkwo watched his daughters become genuinely close, and it healed something in him too. He started a foundation in Kioma's name, providing education and support for street children across Lagos. He couldn't bring Kioma back, couldn't undo his abandonment, but he could honor her memory by helping kids like Amara. 2 years later, Amara stood at a podium, giving a speech at her high school graduation. She was the valedictorian. Chief Okonkwo and Zainab were in the front row, beaming with pride. "My mother used to tell me that in life, character is destiny," Amara said to the crowd. "When I saved a stranger's life at a traffic light, I wasn't thinking about rewards. I was just doing what my mother taught me, that we help people because that's what decent humans do. I didn't know that stranger was my father. I didn't know that one act of kindness would change my entire life. But that's the thing about kindness. You never know where it will lead. You just know it's the right thing to do." Chief Okonkwo wiped tears from his eyes. He had been given a second chance, not just at life, but at being a father. And this time, he wouldn't waste it. Sometimes the people we're meant to find us first, and sometimes salvation comes from the most unexpected places. Even from a 16-year-old girl selling water in Lagos traffic, who had every reason to walk away but chose to stay.